Okay, so who is seeing me? Chant leader.
He's asking if somebody will be.
I'll do it. Read the English.
Okay.
All other sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teachings, and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind Lut Lama and lineage lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas and the yidams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path.
仙若拉本东的长久
僧尼给基
内仙地仙阿顿的老巴拉阿人百姓的老百觉悟。
In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mothers, sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras, together with their host of demons, the one who understands all reality without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror, together with your disciples, please come here to this place. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with maroon, the supreme mountain, the four continents, and the sun and the moon. As the Buddha field, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confessions, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate.
萨帕
摩当知作悲长久心无。
Namo, to the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence. I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the three realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, the one endowed with the 5 wisdoms of omniscience. Gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, the primordially unborn, completely pure mind. Transcendent conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflicted emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teachers of gods and men. I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequaled Shaka king. At the time of your birth, leader of 2-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth, you proclaimed, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, even then I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain, the one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment. To you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you among the 3 levels of existence is most exquisite. Unparalleled omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Sarvasthi, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground basis for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone, the pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth. To the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation, thoroughly respectful of the 3 higher trainings, to the field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha I also prostrate.
Namo Nonze Namda Gelama La Nonze Shirye Sun Chobambu Anganso Yondre De Sorwa Ne Korwa Tondre Se Jenje Lo Nyaje Je Nurwe Soge Shen Masan Jome Jarve To Anchembe Ye Madan De Seve Dani Gadi Shen Andowa Jomze Rembo Che Dasem Nye Jemane Sorwa De Kyonye Jemande Chenje Lo Samdone Jeme Nandande Alonde Chugu Tobare Chenje Lo Jon Dende Dijin Yegwa Mba Yanda Bara Sobe Sanje Regwa Dan Shazan Demba Dewar Yegba Jiden Chimba Jiwen Duwa Agalo Jorwa Lana Meba Lada Me Namje Domba Nyami Choy Chi Jarboy Shabje De Tama Meba La Ango Rabde Dode Kuge Chanza Loi Kanse Kanye Zoy Jodanze Sachen De La Komba Duwane Ngane Jeden De Nai Joje Song Ande Den Geba Jila Chanze Loi Namda Gungan Jode Suzan Wa Yi Jie Jiang Zoi Sir Jie Lun Bon Zha Tao Ba Ji Den Song Na Lang Ye Wa Gong Bo Chong Ye Jie La Chang Zhe Lun Zhen Zhou Den Ba Jin Mian Da Yi Xie Zhen Do Da Wa Ji La Chang Zhe Lun De Zhe Chu De Se Ba Song Nan Zhe Nyam Min Tian Jian Qi La Chang Zhe Lun Men Jiu Du Wa Ka Lu Jun Zhe Jin Gun Jiu Ra Jin Wa Jun Zhe Ti Jin Ye Ang Bo Xie Tong Ye Li La Ti Nye Yu Xiu Ba Ai Chang Da Lu Gong Bo Tu Jie Jie Den Ba Tam Jian Jian Bie Dong Ba Bo Song Na Yong Den Jiang Su Xin Ti Jin Ye La Chang Ze Lu Ta Bian Do Xia Ti Wei Ju Ge Wei Nian Song Le Zhou Xin Jie De Tong Dan Jiu Jiu Xie Jiu Jiu Lai Chang Ze Lu Zhou Ne Zhou Wei Lang Yang Dong An La Ba Da La Rab De Gu Xin Ge Dong Ba Yang Den Ji Gen De La Yang Chang Ze Lu.
Page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjushri, to those of the worlds of the 10 directions, however many they are, all the lions among humans who appear during the 3 times. To all of them, without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mine. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realm, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharma Dhatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible, praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas with the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense. I make offerings to the victorious ones with the finest cloths, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways. I make offerings to those victorious ones with the vast and unsurpassable offerings. I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity. I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the bodhisattvas, the practica-buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together, those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating unto enlightenment.
So page 14. Soda Joje No Tu Soma Yeba Ye Senge Dage Male Tada Tamje La Ale Dang Aye Tangwe Chanje Wo Sambo Chube Molan Dobdange ye je ngozon de shenge tu nye le ra tu ba ye enjarwa gun la ra de chang te lo de je de na de nye son je na san je se je u na shok ba ta da chu je yen na ma le ba dam je ja wa da ge gong wa mo da da ya nga ba me se jang so na yang je yen la jang so da ge je ja wa ge je yong ten rab jo shen de wa ra ye ba tam chi da ge do me da tam ba ten wa tam ba dang sin ye nam da chu ga dong cho ta ma me cho da do bo tam ba yi wa da da la ne chu ba je na za tam ba nam da ten cho da qian ma ya pu me ren ra nyam ba da gu ba che ba ran pa be chu gen je in jo wa de da la ya chu ba je chu ba kan na la ne ja je wa de da ja wa dong je la ya mo sang bo chu la de be do da ke e ja wa gan la chang ze chu ba je do ja she da de mo wang ge ne nga da de jin ye je zhang de ba da ge je ba jin je ba de da dang je da ge so so re ya che che ja wa gun da song je se rang ja nam da lo da me la 대다 근제 제스 다예 랑 가나 조제 제단 로마다 장저人百 성제 마자니 공보 대다 다게 탐제라 안콜로 라나 메바 고르와 냥게
Daton Gangshi
대다라 로와 근라 덴신 데베체 엔게와 셴게 드니 쇼바양 다게 티모 라자라 소르와제 엔창세 와단 주제 여바단 제스 예랑 근신 소르와예 정제 다게 제자바 당제 소베 장조 전부
Page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combinations according to the disposition and mental capacity of sentient beings.
삼전 넘제 성바동 로예 제다 제다와 아제종 드모 대바예 주제 고로 고드소 당계도 제자제를 선동 현재매도 뉴제봉정보 설제lum보 다오라지백 야지절배잡라 그전세 제매오스를 도제진구라도 마대제진오제다와 담제세바 근천조제제 냐면대공ren전 그전세 호미조제 양제포동도 두성제 근전오원 상삼조거오성동제배 자벨라메조라 그전세 강다정조라 동전제대나 들여오문화조와 강화서 댕대농배 조진 저런배바 삼브란도와 담진대 예시 노모야라 예게동로동도지게 동동동미예기놈 도경제다게제 동보 담지기다다게 주된도. Good morning. Nice to meet you again. Tinidan gatsadi yang tusuk district tene karse gore bechatia tini chungyo mares.
So hello, all of you. It's been some time since Drupon has been teaching from this text.
No, timorati.
Oh,
Ngaso tia chungyo mares. Tia turai.
Brahma song. Yeah, love song.
tini da karesena gontas.
So sorry it's been so long since the last teaching.
ina yang da ko karse gore yang chi karse gore chanasola be ignore chine ngara chibodan yo maris.
Ignore?
chanaso di ignore no chine.
Uh-huh.
tini ngara chibodan tini do yo maris.
So, if you can, kind of ignore that and forgive that, then, that will be nice. They trouble?
Yeah. So I didn't ignore you guys.
Oh, ignore.
Oh, so because sometimes you ignore you guys, I just enjoy vacation, but not like that. So I think the little bit I want to explanation why I go gone, you know. So that year was the I think 2000 maybe 40. La karchabre la vina tene jamgo yignor the stock tene nyong yores jamgo ambuch.
Yishin Norbuki. Nyong?
Yeah, this. So I think 2000. Maybe you can fix up, okay?
Okay. So in 2014.
40. So this His Holiness has sick, you know. So actually, really serious, you know. So that time is we do something, you know, for the Holiness, particularly long life. And but who is organized, you know? So, so this nobody's, you know, organized long life. Like for example, in the Drupon, you know, His Holiness Monastery, they can organize, but that's very small. So maybe the bigger organized kind of international kind of gathering, and then this long life. So that time is actually we have a lot of monks or Campbells or Drupons from the Church of Lane, and so a lot outside, you know. So then we volunteer, you know. Okay, so we discuss mostly outside of the Church of Lane, you know, India. So we volunteer, and then we said everybody go to Church of Lane, and we whatever expenses we sponsored, you know. So all, including Langarchen Rinpoche and so on. So that time is biggest gathering, like maybe, you know, Holiness teachings gathering a lot, but that is biggest. So that's okay. Okay. So then we did a long life. I think 2 weeks. I think Amitayus, Namjarma, right? Ushnich, Tujra.
Ushnisha Vijaya, the crown protuberance, completely victorious goddess practices a long life, obstacle dispelling practice.
And then also this White Dharma. So we did. So actually this amazing Dharma blessings, so immediately actually maybe within the 2 weeks, Holiness like completely normal, recovered. So then it's sort of everybody very happy, and Holiness, yeah, recovering, he's very happy, and he meet the, like me, we study under the Holiness, but they just outside, you know, so, but all together, like, so I think that time is very special, I think 2040, I think. So there we have like big meeting, you know, so what do we do, future, you know. So then everybody saying, okay, we need kind of organize, you know, not only one monastery, not only one center. Some sort of like we need international like, committee. So then everybody agreed, you know, future whatever and Gungaju, you know, particularly Gungaju, Ford and Gungaju, how to, terwa, the Dugungajula, Dugungaju Tembalata, Ropa Kandis, Chinkenke, Sopa, Gosares, Labores.
So there was an organization, a council that was formed in order to benefit, the kind of spread of the teachings of the Drupon Kagyu throughout the world.
So then everybody agreed. So this kind of like many programs, many different future, for the Drupon lineage. But first they did the kind of elect, like 7 people. That's okay. And so that is so first kind of we called the Ndikungaju. So this way also with holiness, we said different names, organization, different names, but the holiness give to name is the Ndikungaju International Council. So that to do karsena nga so jigro nga to do cha yoris tambo so dam yoris.
So, Kurang. So then Drupon was elected, and so he first began work with the Drupon Kagyu International Council then.
Techi de da tine da karsena tine song de da karsena tanda di da de jetang te du nga so constitution senari da
So then they came up with kind of a foundation document, a constitution, a set of rules over the next 3 years.
Yeah, each, members, 3 years.
Oh, that in the constitution, the rules, each member would serve a 3-year period. So now we are on the 5th cycle.
Each country election
So now each country has an election to choose a representative.
Tine techi tsawe shugla, tine pagilata ko international korandi kunkaji yonzoke, tine election ji chigiyores.
So then out of those country representatives, then there is an international election for representatives.
Tine da nga thambo America ne, da nga so, ngoni china nga tinde ke da nga so kashi chiyore, kashi chiyo marwa.
So Drupon has done, been involved with some of these, and he has not been involved in some of the other ones, but now, for this particular council, they said he has to, participate, and so based on that, he is a participant.
Tiga na yitini ta karsena ga so pagila international tini ta nga tendi election chiyores.
So this recent cycle he was elected through the international election.
So that's my excuse, okay?
So that's what he was doing.
Tindi ta nga so di jeta da tanda start 5th wa yine ya da organize mambo chiyores pena jeje den da orwa eti jeje aposon jeje
Japon.
no this the lord jikten songong
Oh, gypcha.
tela so bata leka mambo da le yores.
So there are a lot of things that they do on this council.
They did,
or
pass.
that they have done. For example, they organized the great celebration of Jigten Sungwon's the 800-year anniversary of Jigten Sungwon, who founded the Drupon Kagyu. That's one example of things they organized.
Ina tati jamgono bochi keta chik not Thinley chia chibu mai bada chi chaplen kan saya di ta korang kharse gore Thinley tene chokwa wangcha sena Thinley che mewa da ta khari na koji dunga ju keta dik temni na re kharchi gona organization ro jamgono bochi be ke chenbo hiptsugi yores.
So, not only do they organize, big events, but they also kind of set forth, the kind of like rules of how the Drupon Kagyu, tradition should be implemented, and kind of setting forth guidelines to kind of support the network and so forth. So really, these rules and so forth are coming from Drupon Kyapgon Chetsang Rimshe, who is the one who's kind of giving these ideas, and then they are implementing them.
Lada la yando yore lada la chetan dunga ju ta nga so chetan dunga ju zambuling na la dunga ju yorwa. I think this keche moro nga so dunga ju skande yores do samna tangna zambuling.
So then Drupon was also recently in Ladakh, this area in northern India, and in particular there's very special places all over the world where the Drupon Kagyu tradition is, uniquely, a part of that. But in particular in Ladakh, the Drupon Kagyu tradition is very, very special there. So this is kind of one of the most special places for the Drupon Kagyu in the whole world.
Ladakh ra China, actually this well organized. Karsena gomba somi yores.
So there are 3 monasteries
main monasteries
in Ladakh that are kind of like the most organized and prominent.
Under the 3 monasteries, I think this 225 monasteries.
So under these 3 monasteries, there are kind of 225 branch monasteries.
Yeah, of course, in the Tibet, but it's outside the Tibet. So biggest the Drupon Kagyu population in the Ladakh. So like, for example, another we call Ladakh is division, One is Chamcho, so like, I don't know, more west side. And then Ladakh called Lalo. So this one past the mountain. And then this 4 complete area, like really big. So that is 100% Drupon Kagyu. So Ladakh is just general Ladakh. There's like Gelo. I think mostly Gelo, Drupon, and Drukpa. So I think the Nyingma is only 1 monastery, and the Satya is only 1 monastery. But I think population is more, I think, Drupon Kagyu. But the northern side, all the Drupon Kagyu. So because we have international committee council, but also not much communication, not much connections. So this time I want to another member, 3 members. We want to order another meeting all the leaders, the monasteries, and as well as all the local leaders. So then also we slowly, all the communications, all the West, centers or lamas. So that's, I think, we eventually we know working together, right? Or the Ndigunkaji. So of course we have take care on center, working on center. But not only that, so we bigger, like working together, like for instance, the particular things working together like all the country, US, so we do some like Molam, I think, but bigger, whatever, some teachings, organize, and also, I think many things we have to put together, so like for instance, each center and each monastery like a bit different, like Tirwa, Ndando with this Navio Madis, melodious. Then got some Muda music to this Mandayoris.
So there are some unique qualities of the practices that are done at different, Dharma centers throughout the world. For example, in, the Tibetan Himalayan area, even there, they use sometimes different melodies at different, monasteries and centers, and sometimes the mudras, the hand mudras, there's these subtle variations of style.
Not only like individually practice, future, exactly, but perfectly generation to generation.
So, one of the things they want to do is to make sure that, the authentic, tradition is able to be maintained throughout, the Drupon Kagyu centers, and monasteries, so it's not lost from generation to generation.
Of course, you individually be okay, just meditation or like chanting, that's okay. But probably this lineage, generation to generation, probably not okay. We have to, everything is authentic, unbroken lineage, and so really, whatever the original, so we're not missing. So.
Yeah, some of the monasteries have the differences of melodies sometimes are like a profound thing where a different master taught a melody, but then sometimes it's just like they kind of forget the main tradition. And so this is to help everyone remember.
Tati indi karsena nga son digunga ju tradition la karsena ti individually teni chia yosa maris karse tradition korando bugu yosares.
So it's not to suppress the, individual, traditions or anything like that. That's great. They're unique, lineages.
Right, so we follow the lineages, tradition. So, what in the Tineta, Tindre Chi Netine, Tanga so Jamono Boji, Kaduin being a young, Tene, Karzungu or Sinanga, Jetan Gerse, Yoris, Jetan Gers.
Cheer?
Jes Roa?
Che?
Jesina, Jetan Gers, your Gersina, personal Roa. Jesena, go Chiwarawa, Dunga Jilla. Tene Jelly Chamber is Lapioris.
So, Drikung Kyapkon Chetsang Rimche, he was talking about how there's kind of a difference of what we do kind of universally, outwardly, and then also our own kind of personal practice. And so here, having this kind of harmony and so forth with this universal, system is very important.
re tene ta ngaso tanda di ta chirangso ngaso tusu zo ngaso ta tanda di lodo number shi keda last ngaso de ta mongbo chi yore inda keche yode nyamlen che yarwa ta mongbo ji chirangso old practitioner how ko yores.
So then here, in this teaching, getting back to the teaching, we are in the presentation of what are known as the four thoughts that turn the mind, contemplating precious human life, impermanence and death, cause and effect, and then also the sufferings of cyclic existence. And so here is the last of that section, which is the sufferings of cyclic existence that we are in. And so the main point is, related to our practice.
Tini ta kaza ngazo kong shuba na yire tene ngazo nyamdo tene nyama ni nyamlen cheya da tene individually karsa nyama nga nyamlen cheya de gogo yores.
And so for each one of these four thoughts that turn the mind, we are doing a two-day group retreat where we practice together. And to kind of progress through this system, everyone is encouraged to also additionally do 5 extra days of retreat. And so one would do 7 days total of each of these four thoughts that turn the mind.
Ta kaza ngazo di ste ta di nane ta kurwan di nane kange yores songbare ta kurwa tenyang kurwe ke nane yang je category kari yorsena ngazo reg talks yawa chegi yorwa tene ji kategori tori som tang nyasong som seyaji ta tene yawa chegi yores.
So in order that we are inspired to attain enlightenment and get out of the situation of suffering, we contemplate the sufferings and defects of cyclic existence that we are in, this universe, this world of cyclic existence. And so within cyclic existence, there are the 3 higher realms, and then there are the 3 lower realms.
Tini ta ti nane ta ji lower realm nane lowest karchadi yolavina ngazo nyarwa seyaji ta yores.
So then, in the 3 lower realms, the lowest of the lower realm are the hell realms.
Dadi karsegore ngazo kecha yetandi jikta nyarwa seyaji labgu yore ine yanda di jik Buddhism jibore beno karsena Hinduism inari Christianity inari ta tendiko jik area rawji yores.
So, when we talk about the hell realms, it's not just a state of existence that is exclusive to the kind of cosmology, the depiction of the universe in Buddhism, but also in other spiritual traditions, there are, discussions of how beings end up in hell realms. For instance, in the Hindu traditions, there is discussion of hell realms, and then we also find it in like Western religious traditions, like in Christianity, there's discussion of beings in hell realms.
Yine yanda jik ko kange yore seya je ke mengtela ta sha jo ma to be ke sanji jumden de ke tindi ke ko jik rem jik yo mare sonro sanji jumden de ke tene jaksik sai sui ji mo chonde da kane chung sonro sanji jumden de ke ta jaksik sai yorwa yarwa jaksik sai ti su kan su kha yo mares the punish men che chingen da chesa da tindi yo mares tindi da tamchi ne diksi imba to bezo da dikpe ki sem round through no yores ma to be ke tindi da physical location yo mares onro.
So we have all these different hell realms that are explained, and One incredibly important point here to understand is that the Buddha Shakyamuni, the Buddha taught that all these different experiences and kinds of, names for these, subdivisions of realms in hell and the different sufferings that beings experience, all of these arise because of the non-virtuous negative deeds that occur in the minds of those beings. And so it's because of the negative states of mind that beings experience what appears as hell. But they all occur in the mind. And so in Buddhism, this is kind of a subtle, explanation of hell. It's not that there's an external hell. It comes from the negative mind state of beings.
That the comes down to karma chadiores. Also lay karma lagdwa.
So how does this occur? It comes from karma, the actions that those beings engage in.
So I think we have here, it hot hills, cold hills, neighboring hills, but no worry, okay? Those don't worry. But you have to worry what individually your action, what you did. So that we cares. But sometimes we think, oh, maybe I was scary things or down there, but no worry, So even though there is hell, but this is a very, you really consequence, like huge negativities, we call heinous crime, what is 5 acts.
So there are these absolutely horrible acts called the 5 acts with immediate consequence, like harming a Buddha, killing your parents, and so forth.
So, but that is no worry about the hell. But the 2 difficulty parts, very difficult to go hell. That's sure, probably impossible. But also, same time, very difficult to achieve enlightenment complete. That's a really hard job too. So, but I think is that I said no worry about this, hell beings, this and that. But I think we aware what we action, what we doing, how is affect emotions. So actually not exist the hell beings, but it is exist.
So we don't have to think that hell is this like permanent place that we are going to, that truly exists. At the same time, what we should realize, though, that the fruition of negative afflictive emotions, that really does exist.
Mm-hmm. They get like a result. So like for example, I think there is different, the past we look at the kings, that's just example, okay? Leaders. So the 2 different kings, we call Dharma king. So really protect the subject, protect the people, help the people, this great merit. And some kings, leaders, so they do make suffering to people, right? So they have consequences, So some leaders these days, how many people killed, That's leader, the order, Does they have consequences, just not go away. And that or leader, whatever person, how much they make suffering to people. So that's karma. They not go away. Sooner or later, who did, that person has experience. Have to, so. Thinley indu ta le khans ahyabati gugres. Pena khatanga so hyure. Nyarwa siyate tseringbores. Muli bedama loma tubgres lavgdwa.
So in this way, whatever karma, whatever actions we engage in some way, there is a result that we will experience in one way or another. And so, for example, when we talk about the experience of life in hell that arises in our minds, the lifespan of beings in hell can be much longer than the lifespan of humans.
Right. Tati ni ko dembadoa. Chorang ke mejeke Messiah mongboje la suffering chiuna ko payback take time ro. Ko kangi nyanga la tu songo bro. Ko Messiah je si chana ko dunge te bed 1 year 1 month tini ko perfect chi tu go mares. Ko nyanga go go res. Nyanga la tu songo go res.
So, for example, if we cause suffering, like a huge amount of suffering for another person, then, it's hard. Sometimes in 1 year, that suffering's not gone. There's still suffering. So it's hard to kind of pay back somebody, in 1 year.
Right, so this, like, for example, someone, like leaders, whatever, you can, the million people make suffering, so that you can pay back. You cannot pay back or whatever you experience, your suffering just only 1 year or something, no, I think. Because how much that person did is huge, So that's why, we think, this take year or no, that's many, many years, So not even though like human beings' life is like whatever, 70, 80, but this hell is like 500, this, that. So that's a kind of, there's not physical location, but individually who did that, so they have experience million years, So that's what I thought this abbreviation. So they thought color words, no? That's aware, karchi words, no? Individually, karsina ko nyarwa sayate ko mistake yo mares rawa. Le sayate mistake yo mares ta. Mistake junu mejo le rawa. Karzong bade lavina ko karsina tesung doa. Maji bala minjung sungwa. Leji masawa lenjung ayo mari rawa. Yina ya chiba tela ignore che ayo maris lenjung gres.
So, in this way, we don't just end up in hell by mistake. It's not a place you just end up if you go the wrong directions. The way that we end up in this hell realm of experience is through karma, through actions that we have done. And so it is taught, if you have not done it, then that experience will not occur. On the other hand, those that have engaged in extremely negative actions, you can't just ignore it and expect that it will go away.
Tati indu ngato dela karchi gogure labina depends samala tene ta semde toldi yoris. Dewa nyongya semri, kangi tenya semri. Deva nyongya songya semri. Dungi nyongkya ta, dungi songya ti semcha di yoris.
So all of these occur within the mind. When we experience happiness and pleasant situations, due to our karma, where does that ultimately occur? It occurs within the experience that arises, from the ground of the mind. Also, too, when we experience suffering, where is the basis of suffering? Where does it arise? Ultimately, it arises within the mind. That's how karma ultimately ripens.
We can some no kartang guyore lavina tene tatsu karsana ngatsu jule nyomomba sungdowa yina dati some no jitang guyore kare lavina tangi sanje ke songba na yire nyarwa physical nyarwa yomares yina nyarwa se the kare labores nyarwa slavdowa. I don't know this English explanation. What means the hell? The English.
What's the etymology of hell?
Etymology, I'm not really sure, but it seems to originate, at least in the way that we understand. I'm not sure the etymology of it, but at least the way they understand it is related to the Christian idea of a place, a physical location that is in contrast to a heaven. So you would have, at least in the Catholic or Christian tradition, you have a heaven, which is the result of having faith in God and being virtuous. And then the opposite of that would be hell. But in the Christian tradition, it is eternal, so it's forever. So once you leave this life, you go to hell. It exists in perpetuity, so it's forever, it never ends, right? So it's a physical location. But the etymology, I don't know. Maybe other people.
Sigzula, you.
What?
Oh, yeah, Michelle, unmute.
Yeah, I was taught it was like the lake of fire, and you're just gonna burn, and then like there's these demons and stuff that are, grabbing at you and eating you, and you're just falling in this eternal pit of fire forever and ever. Scary.
All right. Okay.
We have we have a hand here,
Katie.
and then
Katie.
Yvonne.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Right.
I think within the Christian tradition, there's also various perceptions on heaven and hell. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that it changes based upon the dispositions or, the capacities of the people. But I also know that there's a level of people in the Christian tradition that think of hell as a separation from God and heaven is a direct connection with. So yes, there is this preliminary place you're going to burn or things, but then there becomes a more subtle understanding of heaven and hell as connection with God versus separation with God, or connection with the eternal versus disconnection. So I'll just throw that out there.
Okay.
I'm cheating because I looked it up, but but there's in the Old Testament in Hebrew, this is the part that I think people probably already knew but forgot. Sheol, which sounds a little like hell, and that's basically the grave. It doesn't really have a lot of judgment. People hang out there. It's gray and kind of not very nice, but it's a grave, and it's not necessarily a place the wicked are tormented or anything. But then the New Testament comes along in Christianity, and it gives it a twist. And suddenly you have Gehenna, which is basically what they translated hell as in the New Testament. And that's where garbage was burned outside Jerusalem. And that's where you get to be, having fire and being burned and getting punished for your evil doings. And so that's something to think about. Judgment.
Yeah,
I went on a different route on my search. And I found something very simple that, the English word hell originates from the Old English word hell with an E at the end, which referred to another world of the abode of the dead. So it's a place of the dead, which is the opposite to be awakened and enlightened.
Maybe it's important to make the distinction that just not in English, but it seems that there's a term or an understanding of a hell in almost every tradition, for the most part. So the ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, to the Muslims, to the Buddhists, to the Christians. So there is some sense of the underworld that exists for most traditions, not just English and Buddhist.
I'd like,
Oh,
I'd like to add to that.
okay.
In the Colonial Williamsburg tour, they have the tour of like the governor's palace. In the back, they had like this, like little cave almost that they would dig out to keep things cold, and they would refer to that as hell. So because that it would keep their food cold, and they would bury it, to keep things cooler.
Okay, we have one online, I think, John Allen.
John Allen. Hello, everybody. Pranams, Big Bava. I have a friend named Kimball in Manhattan. He is friends with a certain Luke Montague, who is the Earl of Sandwich. And this Earl of Sandwich historically was one who his great 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 grandfather took Hawaii for the British colonies. Um, he also invented the sandwich. And among other things that he was up to about in that time in his amongst his noble peers were something called the Hellfire Clubs. The Hellfire Clubs were attended by gentlemen like Benjamin Franklin, who was on our $100 bill. These were ritual, uh, transgressive meeting places. Antinomian activities were engaged in there. This is one notion of a Hellfire Club. These individuals got up to some interesting geopolitical hijinks. But that being said, I wanted to say that on the topic of hell, um, it's it's one that we've been discussing for a long time, Drupon. You've mentioned it many times, and it's traces back through many language families. It comes from the Old English hell, from the Proto-Germanic hallo, meaning a concealed place or an underworld. So that's related to the Proto-Germanic root. Helan, to cover or to hide. Give us words like hall, a covered space, and a helmet, or covering for the head. So the Indo-European, Proto-Indo-European Germanic root traces further back to the Proto-Indo-European root. Kel, meaning to cover, conceal, or hide. The connection explains why many Indo-European languages have similar concepts, the underworld as a hidden or concealed realm beneath the visible world. The Norse influence. The Norse have the realm of the dead, and the goddess Hel, who ruled it, reinforced the meanings in English through Viking contact in Norse mythology. Hell was specifically the destination for those who died of sickness or old age, as opposed to Valhalla, which is like where your Dakas and Dakinis or your berserkers would go to. Um, and so semantically, it evolves so that hell meant the underworld, the realm of the dead, not necessarily as a place of punishment, but the association with eternal torment and fire developed later through Christian influence, particularly as a punishment. that association with torment and fire, spread through the Germanic-speaking regions and adapted existing concepts to new theological frameworks. But they'll have similar words in the German, like the Hölle or the Dutch hell or the Icelandic hell. All hell, meaning the underworlds. The word's evolution reflects how a lot of different ancient people around the world conceptualized death as a journey to a hidden and underground realm or dis, or something remarkably consistent across cultures. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. That did it though. Actually, every religious, the relative labor, cheaper to it though. In Sares, the tradition scenario, the concept scenario, cheaper charted those. In a young da, the ultimate level, then Sanji Songbana Yere, Koran, Samtili Pasa Himba Mewati, the Peche Buddhism, Chade Yorwa, physical, Tiniyawa Yo Maris, in a Konyonghen, Tan, create Injadi, Ko Sam Kichigi or Seatita, Tanateredo.
So as we see, there are
Or Benacation in a Gatotindido. Benaterwa, Matondo Chipa Yoris, Benahingamsia Yori, Yarwa, Samsara Nirvana Yorwa, Samsara Nirvana Chigori, Benakushianity in a Yanko, Yarwa Yori, Takar Kote Yorwa, on Tindita, Layus Kod Korani, could take Manda, take Zenatan, the word of Redwa.
So, in this way, there are, all these different ways that different spiritual traditions do talk about these varieties of experiences that beings encounter. And for example, in the Christian tradition, you do have like a heaven that in some ways is similar to what, in Buddhism is described as like pure realms or God realms. And so there is this like wonderful like heaven in the Christian world. Also, you have descriptions of hell in the Christian world. And so a lot of these experiences and the varieties of experiences you can see across all these different spiritual traditions. However, one thing to crucially remember in the Buddhist context, what the Buddha Shakyamuni taught was that ultimately there is no physical hell. There is no physical realm. These experiences of hell arise according to the actions of our karma and that come from our afflictive emotions. And through those ripening, we experience these experiences of hell within our minds.
Or that the Indu, Tiyungdo, Benachashana, Tazungdo, Samre, not to Tanda, Mulu, then you wake up Chora, taking health in a chassis grace.
So, in this way, it could even be the case that because hell is ultimately experienced in the mind, when somebody is still a human, even though they are human and in the human realm, due to their actions, they could experience a hell-like experience.
Bendo Chashabina, some Jimechabi Conro, Lande Wekabla, doing some Jimechaba Yoris. Tinigana Yiki, Conro Shok Chimbo Langwekala, Nawatamate, Marbu, no Chagioris. Better. Jikone Tonic could real reality, Tonto Wiomaris. Parjo Mayinare, Moboinari, Conro Sun a bed, Namakara, Marbo Chagioris. That tendo inata, heart hell, say that Tiniji Chagioris, Lavdo.
So, for example, when we have inconceivable levels of anger, when we become, extremely mad and angry, which can happen in this human realm, there's this saying, especially in the Tibetan world, that the appearances you get so mad and so upset that like things start to look red. And so I don't know if we have that exactly in the Western connotation, but like in Tibetan, they're like, you know, he was like fiery, red hot, like mad, like so mad that he was seeing red everywhere. And especially in the Tibetan world, you can get so upset and angry that like you start to see red. And this is like the fire of the hot hells. You get so angry that like you just see red.
어떻게 다 나와 추구요래. 가르스나 콩도 슈랑 데베 까블라. 데네랑 파마이나레 초가 제메이나레. 다 드솔라 데네 지 원에 지 당보 제바요레 가디 탱게요레. 이비 이나야 지 콩도 효진볼랑 데베 까블라 데네 지 원에 타네 수이나 베데지. 가르세거다 참아지 로고요라. 가디 제기요레 제바 제기요레. protection.
So it can happen that when we get angry and upset, even those people that we love the most, like our parents, even people with their loved partners, their husbands, wives, and so forth. Boyfriends, girlfriends, when we get angry and upset, we can, people can get so angry that they completely forget all the love that their parents have shown them, or they completely forget all the love that they've had with their partner. And so that, love that, normally protects them, anger, if they hold on to that anger and it grows, they can lose all of that and even get mad at the people they love the most.
어다 디가나 얘기 다 단다들이 유스기리 베나차샤나 니나라 갈송 것이나 되니다 never-ending scenery 되려 occasional hell 라 갈스나 가서지 셈들라 되네 담면데 제와 렌스그레스 송도와 베나 고당가와 탑동 탑가당 가리 틴디게 따탄다 텐텐 틴디게 되네 고지와 렌스그레스 강의 용스그레스 티나 요소말이 이나다죠.
Yeah. So then it's possible that when we have these strong states of afflictive emotions, then everything we experience is, we were going through in the text this section that talks about the neighboring hells, and certain types of hells where the head is separated from the body and so forth, and there's all these like subtle varieties of experience of suffering according to the different karma that we've engaged in. And so it's possible that through our karmic actions that this arises in such experiences.
다디 조 가르세다 디 융야 될 가르세다 가서 lacking of the loyalty라와 가서라다 지 샤차 세거다 다 드니 care와 빼나 도 섬노 땅비나 다 나도 초선도 섬노 땅비나 다들 care지 고고요래 가서나 초선도 섬노 땅 고고와
The care?
Yeah. Careless no main barwa.
Oh,
Loyalty. Karri laina tene ta nga so di kita number sanje bi generate ko number sanje re ina chole cheba yo mare yimbi ina ya telogdo wa nga so meto khang la pho bi la ke so de ta khang da ya nga so du ga ju cha bare du ga ji bu mare ta 단다 같이 하디 요르세나 베는 동어 창조랭 상가 차요로와 디 인디 텔레코 카르메 커넥션지 요로와 디 인디다 딘디 텔라 코란타 원에 텔레코 가세나 지 샤차서 샤차세나 가르라고 요래 라비나 근데 배는 나랑 나타 근데 추조怎么当呢我呢今呢추조的咋欠着我就结果有了等于空体问那让我不去几趟给儿子就来不多见着我呢추조 차별에见着我呢당 강바 차별로 와 틴리지 고기요사레스
So these things happen when we don't take care of, we don't have a mind of wanting to take care of those that we love. When we don't have a loyalty, a commitment to, love and embrace with kindness those, around us. When we forget that, when we are careless, then, we can engage in these, negative states of mind and actions arise, from those states. And so, we found ourselves now, in particular, in a world where, we've connected with Buddhism. And within the connections of the, vast Buddhist world, our karma, our flower has fallen on the mandala of the Drupon Kagyu tradition. So we have this connection with this Tibetan Buddhist lineage that is known as the Drupon Kagyu. And in particular, within all the traditions of Drupon Kagyu Buddhism, because of our connection with Drupon Thinley, we have this connection with Changchup Ling Monastery, the main monastery now in India. And so,
말만 뱉대라 롱어 창조는 내려왔고
Gonda. Sorry,
내려차도 요랬어
not Changchup Ling, Drongmer Changchup Ling, which is this temple, this monastery. Sorry, Changchup Ling is the India monastery. So we have a connection with Drongmer Changchup Ling. And so, because of that, we should, have a mind of, wanting to care for that and sustain that and realize that, even if we have, our own like personal desires and, emotions and so forth, it's important that we have a wider perspective to also, do things that are sustainable to take care of the community. His Holiness Drukung Kyapkum Chetsang Rinpoche, as Drupon was saying, talked about how we universally, act and carry out the tradition, and then our own individual practice. And it's more important to make sure that everybody is taken care of and is sustained than just maintaining our own personal desires that arise from our own, kind of like ego and so forth. And so we should think about that when it comes to how we act and what emotions we let exist in our minds.
So used to like Tibet, so these days maybe they are like a bit changing. But I was young, so whatever the families, the important possessions, or money or this, the object. So the first, okay, this giving to the monastery. So most their object, most their valuables to giving to monastery. And whatever finance, So actually now it's a little bit different because they have started business, So they're more planning, But normally, okay, 1 year, I eat up 1 year. So how much the extra money they're giving to the monastery? So that way is because if successful in the monastery, and monasteries, if successful, they benefit the or Sangha members, the whatever object, So that's, I think. And also, interesting, I think maybe this comes from the Yida, so maybe we can read there a little bit. So first you read this one.
The
Yeah, hell you read, and then this we can.
Carter Bardu,
They start the Yida.
first.
First you read.
Okay, whole first page.
Yeah. Until the Yida, maybe some how it goes.
Okay, so to read through, we'll first start. Drupon was talking about. Yeah, that was in English. Sorry. So we'll read through these descriptions of hell, and we're at the neighboring hells. So each of the neighboring hells are said to be located in each of the 4 cardinal directions, making 16 altogether. They are 1, the pit of hot embers, 2, the swamp of putrid corpses, 3, the field of razor blades, 4, the forest of swords. In all the intermediate directions are 1, the hills of shamali trees. Then there are the 8 cold realms. In the cold hell realms, the environment is one of snowy landscapes, blizzards, glaciers, and ice. Depending on the severity of the karma accrued, the cold realms become progressively colder, more severe, and the lifespan of beings increasingly longer. The hell of blisters. This hell realm is so cold that beings there develop blisters all over their bodies. The hell of burst blisters. This hell is even colder, to the point that blisters form and then crack open from the intense cold. The chattering teeth hell. In this hell, beings are tormented and freezing from the biting cold, and their teeth are perpetually chattering. The hell of lamentation. In this hell, which is excruciatingly cold, the beings there are endlessly moaning and lamenting in agony. The hell of groans. In this hell realm, beings are tortured by such pain and freezing cold that they can only let out slow and painful groans. The hell of upala-like wounds. In this hell realm, beings' skin turns blue and cracks into 4 petal-like segments. The hell of lotus-like wounds. In this hell realm, the skin cracks open to the inner flesh, raw and red, splitting into 8 petal-like segments. The hell of great lotus-like wounds. Here the skin becomes dark red and splits into 16, 32, and then innumerable segments. Worms penetrate the cracked flesh and devour it with their metal beaks. Then there are the ephemeral hells. These hell realms do not exist in any particular place and manifest due to any variety of causes. Beings can remain there for indefinite periods of time. The beings of these hell realms live in rivers, some in hills, and some in desolate areas, or yet other places. Some are in subterranean realms, and some are in the human realms. Often these hells take the form of consciousness, becoming trapped in inanimate objects and mistakenly identifying those objects they are trapped in as their own body. Some get trapped in doors, some in pillars, some in stoves, etc.
That indu that and the confusion that personality could massive remendo not things on that these days interesting, science. They can see, so look like state no yorwa. The Shingdo. Lako Burwa. Then Tigana Yikita, Kotzano, that Koran better. The consciousness go that Ramadal Jigdwa.
Bu. Sa.
Yaza. Zaro Yori in a Comburwa. Then Hingdo Yori in a Comburwa. What in the darkers and also take tap down. Say, I take what you cigarettes. In a that so cursing to the careless logic. Penna. Nga se chibaro ta chibi chala suinarwa cheseyade ko kechungjung chine chibi chala de samna ta careless chiwala tiene ko tindi experience yongsigres.
So it is through our karma that we are born in all these different types of experiences, and it's really interesting if we look these days through some of the latest scientific discoveries, there are now all these different types of kind of organisms they're identifying. Some kind of like organisms almost look like plants or something like that, but then actually end up having different types of nervous systems and that type of thing, and apparently they have consciousness. There's also other various types of microorganisms that are being identified that progressively have these kind of like rudimentary nervous systems and could have different types of consciousness. And so when we talk about these beings trapped in these different states, they are kind of like there are these strange kind of ways that life has these different nervous systems and experiences reality. And so in the end, though, one of the most important things we can take away from thinking about all these states of hell and these hell realms is that we don't want to be careless with our actions and our mind, because it is through being careless that we can be born in such states.
That is object of the community. So sometimes, so the biggest, I think we have challenge, or maybe we can say maybe always problem, maybe, is the between I and you, is the different, right? So me is first, no matter. So that is kind of like we have to learn it. Like I said, worry about, hell, how it goes. But however, is we are happy or not happy, or this is sooner or later, both. Is biggest issue is, or maybe we can say maybe source of difficulties or problem is the me, first. So that is we have to, practitioners have to learn, Of course, not exactly same, probably not. But we are working on, So like for instance, kind of maybe similar, or I need to clean my house, right? Sure, yes, you need to clean. But can't do use same concept, or maybe I need to clean the home, So this kind of like you have to, maybe one day, maybe become equal. You can remember, you think of yourself first, and immediately this like our center, or community, or others, right? So that is we have practitioners have to learn, So sometimes confusing, hells, there is hell, there is not hell, I don't know. So possible, so maybe we can say there's no hell, yes. Maybe there's not physical hell, sure. But we cannot, yes, there is hell, Maybe that's true, individually they feel it look like hell. Who knows with, next life, or we died, or so on. But mostly is why is different problem, why is get suffering, or sooner, or immediately, or long term, is the mind. stop clinging. So not enough thinking others. So that's why we said also the opening prayers, Dharma, and so Dharma practice, so always kind of and you can change the, others. So that's we have kind of learning or practice. If doing that, and then, so that is we are Dharma practice too. So, that thing, that here, that nga to karsena, nga to dangzi mewa da chaya yo maris, rawa, kabores. Yena yang, nga to gulong jik kaduina, tene, jik nga zam non korbe tabla, hien zam non korea, pekeche bores.
So, the most important thing here, it is to understand that although it's pretty difficult to not think about ourselves and, worry about, what's good for us, at the very least, we should again and again come back to having a motivation where, between thinking about self and others, we should, really seek, to help others, and think of others as being at least equal or more important than ourselves.
Tiga na you can others love grow. Others love it kabla. I think only unconditional go we always. But oko nga yabuchi songs. That of course that's your one normally. Oko nga hiraga yabuchi gimindo samna do your maris. In others some notana go unconditional go we always.
So when we talk about others, it's really important too that we have this unconditional wish to benefit them. Of course, it's easy if some people do some nice things for us, then we're like, oh, I want to help that person out. Make sure they're taken care of. They did some nice things for me, I'm going to do some nice things for them. That's easy. That's kind of thinking about the self. But it's
we do all the time. That's
right. That's still like selfish. But really thinking about others is thinking about everyone, no matter what they do, and wanting to benefit others universally.
okay. So maybe you have some, maybe one or two questions.
Did you have the mic or no?
Also this you have to understand, we thinking about others, right? So this, you have to analyze yourself, we thinking others. And then within the inside is your peace, happy. That's sure. But if thinking only myself, ourself, so if you analyze, only thinking myself is then this kind of like around their problems, look like we call demon, then worry, maybe if thinking too much, then maybe I say, I worry, or maybe somebody doing me, or like, future what it comes, or like all sorts of like these, we call demon. But, look, whatever called, but not really peace, happiness, So, you're thinking others, right? And then this, okay, so like, I think this way is better. So, me and I, right? So that moment, all the problems or whatever demons, whatever obstacles, like coming toward you, coming toward me. Sort of like completely around, everywhere, 4 directions, 10 directions. So that's this kind of really thinking about, And then, if you think of others, right, that moment, whatever all the demons, obstacles facing out, like sort of go away. Are you feeling that or no? Huh? It's okay.
So I always had this doubt, and it seems like the ephemeral health, it's responsive, because you know how in the common life, we think that there are some spirits in a house or in a part of the woods or whatever. I've heard of this place where I was driving in a village, and people said, be careful when you take that curve, because there have been cases where a spirit throw people out of the curb, out the road. And I was like, oh, okay. But there seems to be like a lot of accidents in that area, and it could just in the woods and things like that. So that seemed kind of credible. Another thing is when there's an abandoned home, and it's a, they say in español, ahí espantan, that people say that there's a ghost there. So it said there's the ephemeral health, when a spirit, the consciousness gets fixated to a specific location and place and gets attached to that place. Is that what it is, the ephemeral health? And how can that person be liberated?
Yeah, you're right. So I think that's possible, those situations. So can be, what hell? Ephemeral hell. Right?
Ephemeral.
Or can be hungry ghosts. Or whatever.
Hungry
person.
ghost, like a ghost.
Ghost. So because that's the reason is, also we have this really important is the meditation, relax, less afflict emotions. They're not happen, those things. But sometimes, like for example, people died, accident, extremely scary, or worry, or or attached. Sort of like, I think between is, they said, depending is the just, I think maybe there's not, sometimes this kind of situation is maybe not, because of related for life, but more is this moment they died, okay? So really scary, or really worry, or really attached. And then this is stuck there. Or maybe can be, I said, this is place, or location, maybe road, like that, So I don't know where the consciousness stuck, or road, or side the road, or behind the road, I don't know. But they really happens all the time, everywhere, So sometimes we do is the family too, lineage, So really, actually, this the Tibetan tradition. There is some like Sunon, right? Sunon, sayata the special chuan doya yorwa. When sometimes families too. So this kind of like can be somewhere, maybe house, or I don't know. So sometimes like a family accident. Many people accident, something like that. So sometimes the generation to generation problems too, so good things or bad things. So bad things happen, so stuck, I think. But this is maybe can be, I don't know, can be human being, can be, Holy Ghost, or can be else. That's possible. I think that has happened a lot. But this kind of same thing, like hell, we saying, he said no hell. But also this, because we cannot see, but also sometimes situation, we cannot see, completely ignore, no way, so.
So as the Buddha said, hell is primarily psychological fixations. And I think for us as Buddhists, it's a question of how we overcome temporary hells. I think we've all had moments, at least moments, if not longer periods, of extreme discomfort, extreme anger, and I think the question for us is not what this place is, but how to escape from this place. And I'm thinking of the really famous Greek mythology of Orpheus and Eurydice. Do people know that or not? It's not that well taught these days, but simply Orpheus lost his love of his life, Eurydice, to death. But Orpheus was a great singer and musician, and he was able to go into hell, travel to hell, to the underworld, to find Eurydice. And he met up with the king of the underworld, and he met up with Eurydice. And he sang so beautifully to the king that he was given the permission to bring Eurydice back from hell. And so he was traveling back to this world out of hell, but he made one fatal mistake. He looked back. He was told not to look back into hell. And the meaning of that, to me, is partly, and he lost her forever.
She was following him.
Yeah, she was with him coming out. But the meaning of that to me is single, kind of like the single mind. If you look back into this fixation, if you're truly fixated and you can't look out of it, if you're looking back toward it, that could become almost a permanent hell. If, a permanent fixation. I mean, there are people, most of us have known, who are living in such a world. And if they could only just look out of it, look toward other things, toward other people, toward other realms, happier realms, doing happier things, if they could just train themselves to look forward, out, beyond where they are fixated, then they could get out. Mm-hmm. But if they look back, it could be hopeless.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, that's Theravada. Tanda di re, ta nga tsu di tanda zamno tang bin tasi tusu la technology, many things karin bi na yang, chat GPT, whatever, ramanda yorwa. In bi na yang, ta tanda contribute fixation. Tan the so no ina, the so ki to be amendo, so to be a yomari, chenchi to a yomata, karichi or a lavina, tanga to gom nyamnera. Gom nyamlen tike, ta fixation kariuna, pena nyumba kandiji yubi natana, kalenga to gom jang be kabla, then a koran ki fixation, koran yimaro watan, tiga no ye kale fixation on the point of yet. Only teridoa, not so cheap, chambatan, yingjetan, tiga no ye ki. Kutsewa, the in that particular Gomjaya. Gomja Umbikabla, then Tanga to the Carsenaji, 단기 가서 송대야게 즉 짐바 픽세션 간디지 유비 이나야 즉 원에 검장백깔라 코나티 라이 모로와 동바 틴리지 있더니 하콩그로 하코베깔라 다 픽세션 빵토고요레스 담마토베게 no matter 픽세션 매와서야 요마와 어디엔디네 다디 가서 즉 단다디 원에 섬노야고 땅비나 냠내 지야디 섬지 미차워와 지금에 샘게 그다 멤버로데 나서 주념나 지하더이도.
So, yeah, it's really interesting. These days we have all sorts of, modern technology that gets, hailed as some, amazing thing. We have, large language model, AI, things that people can use to look up, answers and like ChatGPT and so forth. But the one thing about all these things is they do not solve fixation. In fact, we can get overly more and more fixated on these new technological, shiny things. The only thing that really helps fixation at the root is meditation. And the way that meditation helps is when we meditate on the ultimate nature of the mind, we find that all things are inherently not established. They're not ultimately real. And when we combine that with meditating, with selfless love, compassion, and kindness towards, all beings, this frees us from, fixating on ourself. And so when we train and see the nature of the mind and go beyond the self in this way, we see that, ultimately all things are empty. There is no basis, substantial permanent basis for all, the things that arise. They all arise from the empty nature of the mind. And so, in this way, we can be free from, our fixations. On the other hand, if we don't give up, fixating on, little things and, these various things in the world, then we'll never be free from fixation. And so, and the more that we hold on to subtle fixations about things, fixations and concepts just grow inconceivably. And so this is, really, subtle thing, the key point of the mind and meditation. So, Al?
Yeah, so kind of expanding on this idea is there's this sort of idea that the hells are states of mind and we can experience them while we're incarnated as humans, but also they are potentially states of incarnation that can be triggered by the state of mind at the moment of death also. But the human incarnation is also just a state of mind. So how are we distinguishing between these things, and is the attempt at distinguishing between them just supposed to fall apart into realization that it's all just fake, not real anyway?
Sama ranki sem yuna, dene mi ki yo ki nyawa nangshin ki nyam, tang nyawa ki yo ki nyawa nangshin ki nyam, ngoni yewa yorbe, yang na di sama namtok drabble.
Really, the nyarwi nyamde be kali khagrawa. Khagris.
So one just kind of simple answer for the distinguishing the human realm hell-like experience and the hell realm hell-like experience is that, in what we would categorize as the hell realm, it's a lot more difficult.
Jumsen kharisena dadi ko de leverage doa. But humanina ngaso kharisena jiwoloya tan ko method tabji yores wa. In health ko resort chasarwa. Tikala tabhira yosamaris ko gangema topic.
So the, you know, the reason behind this is that there's kind of like different levels. The experience might temporarily be sort of similar, but in the human realm, as long as we're still humans, you can work with it. There's methods to kind of like transform the situation.
They can change. They have all sorts of like method, all sorts of.
All sorts of things. But in the hell realm, we have to endure suffering for a period of time, and it's hard to get out of that until the karma is exhausted.
Right, because of the karma. So this is I think the hell, they have like motivation, but mostly kind of, and there's confusing too. Confusing, and same time, it's the killer warrior too. So human beings, we have something, problems, right? But we don't have to exactly, don't know. Maybe their karma, whatever situation, maybe past life or this life, or we don't know. But I think they say, or pardo, or hell, whatever, they know what I did. So they're kind of more scary, I think more like, worry or scary, even though pardo too. So sometimes this kind of like, one hand is they know sort of like clairvoyant, but one hand is like depends their karma, like kind of confusing, So this, I think I don't know, the part of teaching, to say, okay, this looks like easy to path, this, they want to, like they said, just go hell down, easy to, but then this worse, so confusing, so you don't want to go higher, so this kind of, but I think your question is, so I think much worse than human being, I think. Yeah.
So is the main difference is that there's a relative reality where people are incarnated in hell realms, but the ultimate reality is that all of these incarnations are states of mind, and that those things are simultaneously existing.
Right. So this, yes. So this we can say, the hell and human beings. So of course they have much worse, but not everybody going to the hell. So this no experience the hell. So can be maybe we can go maybe die, maybe in the pardo, right? So probably everybody going through the pardo, but also this depends karma. You just, but yeah, but I say this, the hell compared to is the more confusing. So.
Maybe a short question online.
Drupon. I think Trump is the orange heifer. There are red heifers that these Abrahamists, these monotheists, monotheists.
Yeah, com Trump bate o race. Trump bate o marpo. Dites de Yeshu que loju tang tumpa. Des quem sa get you.
Inta derewa, inta kodi. Yeah, I don't know.
It has to have.
I think
a red heifer.
We really need to thinking about in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So entire world. So there is a lot of great beings, and also there's a difficulty. A lot of difficulty persons. but I think our sort of job or responsibilities is, of course, difficult, but I think really is that this main thing is, I think, particularly practitioners. So also the practitioner means actually we really good take care of ourselves, you know. So I think that's most important, you know. So also we take care means not like physical, like we are more, I said, you know, this less the sub-clinging, try to more more love, compassion, cares others. I think that is we have to focus. So otherwise, so we thinking about others. So then we cannot fix others. But we try to time and focus, we looking for others, we waste the time, we not get anything. We call it Tibet, they call this so the one person, right? The one person they called the basket, and one is the, actually this man supposed to has basket, he collect the firewood or yard or whatever. So that, I think, if you go one side of the mountain with a basket and collect that is firewood, then okay, you know, so I said take care of ourselves first. But if you're not, you can basket, put other side of the mountain, and the firewood collect the other side of the mountain. But then, and what do you get? Nothing. So no basket and no firewood. So this, I think, really thinking about others' focus. I think that's very difficult to, we get nothing. So first, more focus for ourselves, Dharma practice or whatever, living situation. So that is, I think, really is the, we call it Tibet, call this Chutan Jikten. Mm-hmm. Dharma and the world is
Dharma in the world.
Yeah. So Dharma, individual Dharma practice as much as can, and worldly, what a sense we can take care of ourselves. So that is actually the situation. So this, my opinion is, you know, good time comes, bad time comes. But maybe there's no choice, right? Of course, we get the good things, always good things come. But good thing is very difficult too, you know. We cannot judge that this good thing, this 100% good, this 100% bad. There's not such things like that. So maybe 10 people said it's good, maybe 10 people said bad. Where is the, you know? But one thing, you know, so one take care of ourselves, then that's okay, you know, whatever going on, that's going on, their business, you know. So, but yeah, I think the comes down to really need to take care of ourselves first, you know, whatever need to do things, you know, worldly sense, Dharma sense, that's our responsibilities, our job, they benefit ourselves. So of course, there is, I said entire world there are problems, but we cannot fix the problems. So we cannot change. So there, whatever this, some just not thinking, So Shantideva said, Jutobia yuna, you have power. Jus yuna, Jutobia power, Juya Yowa ina, Junan digres. In the kid, Jus mina, Hagores, Chiamaris.
So, the chu.
Kid Jus yuna, Jugres. Joya power gogre, Nupa gogre, Sama Jutobia, Nupa yuna, Junan digres. Kesi Jus mina, Hayaris, something Chiamaris.
So if you have the power to cut,
You can fix, or you can change.
or if you have the power to fix something or change something,
If you have the power, yes.
then you can do it. And talking about like outer things. But if you don't have the power to fix or change something, then you let it go and focus on what you can do. So this was from Shantideva's teaching.
Okay. So now, your dedication. Okay, Bubbly, your dedication.
By the virtues collected in the 3 times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Jakumpa Ratnashri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. And page 19. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.
Chancho Sancho Ramboche Amache Bana Jejoche and Okay, thank you, everybody.
And there was one announcement for the people here. There's food. There are tamales, and people are welcome to stay and eat. And then there was a request that please help out though at the end with a little bit of cleanup if you can. That would be very helpful.
Okay, thank you.